Imagine an island, smaller than Delaware, home to just over 4 million people, yet every year, millions of people arrive. Some come for a week, some stay for months, some never leave. Australians, Russians, Americans, Germans, Indians, entrepreneurs, influencers, software engineers, content creators. For decades, people traveled to Bali for vacation. Today, many aren't coming for a holiday. They're coming for a new life, which raises an interesting question. Why has one small Indonesian island become one of the most desirable places to live on Earth? And what happens when paradise becomes too popular? Bali wasn't always famous for much of the 20th century. It was a quiet island known mainly by surfers, backpackers, and adventurous travelers. Then came international tourism, luxury resorts, social media, and perhaps, most importantly, Instagram. Millions of people around the world suddenly saw the same images. Rice terraces, infinity pools, surf breaks, sunsets, tropical cafes. For many, Bali stopped being a destination. It became a dream. Tourism recovered rapidly after COVID, with foreign arrivals climbing back to almost 7 million in 2025. But something even bigger was about to happen. Before 2020, where you live usually depended on where you work. If your office was in London, you lived in London. If your company was in Sydney, you lived in Sydney. COVID changed that. Almost overnight, millions of people discovered something surprising. Their office didn't actually need to be an office. As remote work became more common, millions of workers realized they could choose where they live instead of being tied to where their employer was located. Some chose Portugal, others chose Mexico, many chose Thailand, and an extraordinary number chose Bali. Not because salaries were higher, but because quality of life felt better. Imagine finishing work and being 5 minutes from the beach, or a surf session, or a volcano hike, or dinner overlooking rice fields. Bali wasn't competing with Jakarta anymore. It was competing with London, New York, Berlin, and Sydney. At first glance, it seems obvious. Beautiful beaches, warm weather, friendly people, affordable living. But those aren't the only reasons. Bali has something much harder to build. Community, co-working spaces, startup founders, freelancers, creators, entrepreneurs, fitness culture, wellness, yoga, surfing. People arrive knowing nobody. Within weeks, many feel like they've found their tribe. And once enough people make that choice, the effect compounds. Because people don't just move to Bali, they move because other people already moved to Bali. That's how global hubs are created. But every success has a cost. As demand increased, land prices increase. Villa prices increased, traffic exploded, entire neighborhoods transformed. Places like Canggu evolved from sleepy surf villages into bustling international hubs filled with cafes, co-working spaces, boutique gyms, and construction cranes. For many locals, this transformation created opportunity, new jobs, new businesses, higher land values. Tourism remains one of Bali's biggest economic engines, but others begin asking a different question. Who is Bali really being built for? Residents and analysts have increasingly pointed to rising rents, congestion, and pressure on local communities as the island adapts to an influx of long-stay foreigners and remote workers. Here's why Bali matters. This story isn't really about Bali. It's happening in Lisbon, Barcelona, Mexico City, Chiang Mai, Medellin, Cape Town. Technology has fundamentally changed migration. People used to move for work. Increasingly, they move for a lifestyle, for weather, for affordability, for community, and for freedom. The office is no longer always a destination. Sometimes the destination becomes the office. And Bali may be one of the first places where that future became visible. This is the question Bali now faces. How do you welcome the world without losing what made people fall in love with the island in the first place? Indonesia has introduced new visa pathways for some remote workers while also tightening immigration enforcement against illegal work and visa abuse. The government has also discussed limiting new hotel and villa development in parts of southern Bali because of over-tourism concerns. There are no easy answers because tourism brings jobs, foreign investment brings opportunities, but culture, authenticity, and community can be much harder to rebuild once they're gone. So, why is everyone moving to Bali? Maybe they're not simply moving to an island, maybe they're moving toward an idea that work no longer determines where we live, that quality of life matters as much as salary, and that paradise can be part of everyday life. But Bali also reminds us of something else. The places people love the most are often the ones most at risk of changing. Because paradise is easy to admire, but it's very much harder to preserve. Everyone wants paradise. The real challenge is making sure it survives being found.